Chapter 64, in which the ninth fastest long distance runner on the J.P. Hornby track team runs for his life. Garland Lennox, that crazy old man blowing up cop cars in Normandy? You've eaten too many bad snails, Jacques. My name's Joe Anderson, and I'm a Canadian citizen on vacation with my wife. I was supposed to meet her for dinner 10 minutes ago. Check your little radios. I'm sure she's already reported me missing. The old man seemed to think the louder he lied to the police, the more likely they were to believe him. I was standing at least 20 feet away, pretending to talk on my phone, and could hear every word he said. I couldn't hear what the police said to Garland in reply, but when I caught his eye, the old man shook his head to say they weren't buying Canadian Joe's story. It would all be over soon, if it weren't over already, but I didn't feel the relief I'd expected. Garland wanted to get to Sacré-Cœur, and though I knew he wouldn't find what he was looking for, I was willing to do whatever it took to get him there. The church was close, but I couldn't see it from the square, and I was so turned around I wasn't even sure which way to look. Garland hung his head as one of the policemen said something into his radio. There wasn't much time now, and I had to do something, and though I'm not exactly proud of it, this is what I did. Remember when I told you at almost any moment in France, you can spot a little old man shuffling down the street carrying a baguette? Well, the one I found wasn't exactly a dead ringer for Garland Lennox, but in the fading sunlight, he was close enough. Excusez-moi, I said, tapping the old man on the shoulder. Où est Sacré-Cœur? The old man grunted and pointed behind me, and after he finished giving directions I didn't pay attention to, I said, Merci, then handed him the Mont Blanc pen Garland bought me back in Atlanta. The old man looked at the pen, then back at me with confusion, and I said, For your troubles. Then, before I had time to reconsider, I shouted across the square, Les fugitifs américains! The two policemen looked up, and channeling Garland, I shouted across the square, Catch us if you can, you cheese-loving bastards! Then I took off running, and the confused old man with the baguette began shuffling away, and thankfully, the police came after us, one chasing me, the other tackling that poor old man after perhaps the shortest pursuit of all time. I heard the policeman behind me shouting stop, but I'd hit my stride, and in front of me, frightened parents scooped up their children and leapt out of the way. I ran through the square, across the cobblestone street, and as I rounded the corner, I glanced back to see the real Garland Lennox ambling up the hill toward Sacré-Cœur. Since that day, I've tried to map my run on Google Maps, but when the police are chasing you, it's hard to take note of landmarks. I hadn't run in days, and I was jet-lagged and sleep-deprived to the point that falling asleep during a dead sprint seemed entirely possible. But the adrenaline, combined with the cool night air pumping through my lungs, felt incredible. And I wasn't thinking about Parker, or Sadie, or even Garland anymore. My mind was unburdened, its only concern to convince my legs to move faster than they'd ever moved before. And not to boast, but I was flying. A security camera caught the moment I pulled away from the pursuing police officer like I was Usain Bolt, and this was apparently such a national embarrassment, the Police Nationale instituted stricter physical fitness requirements the following month. I took streets at random, ran in and out of stores, and darted through an open-air market, knocking over a cafe table in the process. Soon the air around Montmartre filled with distant sirens, and I ducked down an alleyway to catch my bearings, and when I looked up, I saw Sacré-Cœur, sitting high atop the hill. I walked through the alley and across the street where exhaustion hit me square in the face. Good Lord, there's a million steps, I muttered, to no one in particular, and tried to run up the hill to the cathedral, but now my legs felt like they belonged to someone else, and they responded to my requests for movement with varying degrees of disloyalty. My run slowed to a walk, and near the top was little more than a trudge, but I finally made it to the last step, where the old man sat waiting for me. "Son, what took you so long?" he said, and I tried to flip him a bird, but instead fell beside him and waited for my heart to explode.